Hello, hello. Welcome back to the weekly Monday Motivation Podcast. No more excuses. I am your host, Sandi Ballard. Thank you for being here. Thanks for listening. Thanks for sharing the podcast with others. Thanks for sharing your opinions, your comments, your answers to the questions and challenges that are in the podcast, as well as posted throughout the week on social media. So if you are not connected with me on social media, I always post a question, continuing the theme for the week that's in the podcast. So a question, an article, a challenge, all that good stuff. So I always look forward to hearing from you, getting the emails at sballard@growingforward.biz, as well as in the comments section. So, all right, last week was a pretty badass week for me. What about you? I met with quite a few clients, and although a lot of them were in the same company, a couple of them had some really big realizations, some big aha moments, right? They had made tough decisions and are excited about the future and the possibilities. It was so exciting to see their faces. You could see the relief in their eyes and hear it in their voice. And they'd worked through challenges, because last week's podcast was all about working through challenges, overcoming obstacles to achieve goals, right? So in one of the meetings, one said she'd finally got herself to just be quiet and listen. And amazing ideas and thoughts came to her. And another had to have an honest conversation with herself and the owner of the company about what she really wanted to do and how her talents could best be utilized. And the bigger thing that came out of all of this was that these changes that these two specifically had, how they affected others in their lives, others in the company. And the changes, the results of achieving these goals were outstanding. And just, that ripple effect, right? So let's dig deeper. So the one who needed to be quiet and listen, she had been stuck for years. After many, personal losses, just people have loss in their lives, but sometimes you deal with it in different ways. And it had affected her more than she thought. It affected her business, as life does, right? And it kept her in a safe place. But it stunted her growth, both personally and professionally. And it was affecting others as well. Once she stopped, quote unquote, talking and asking why, or I guess having this pity party, as she said, she just shut up and listened. She had a huge aha moment, many of them, over the last few months. She's made some big decisions, which turned out to be major life changes, and the results have just been amazing. More energy, better health, her outlook, her attitude, and her business has exploded. When she was a few months ago like, oh, I'm okay. My business is okay. It's good. It's fine. Now she's like, oh my God, look at this. And people are referring other people to her. She's found herself again. And when we were talking in the session, the image that came to my mind when she was talking about how she found her old self, it wasn't necessarily that she found her old self, because, that whole thing, you're not supposed to go back to where it was comfortable. What happened is, the image that came to my mind was she stopped walking. She looked back and sort of parted the way of all the bullshit, the excuses, the pity and anger, and gave her old self the space to catch up. It was a different kind of analogy. So she didn't go backward. She brought the person that she loved being and she missed forward. And it's been amazing with her to work through this transformation with her. And on the other person, with the other person, who had to dig deep to find herself as far as who she wanted to be in the company, she had honest conversations. It affected the whole company by her big aha moment. Her decision to change her role, the realization that she needed to, came from an activity I suggested they do as a company. She led this activity, and the results were her changing her role. The stress has just melted away. Just as soon as the decision and the conversation, as soon as it came out of her mouth, she felt like it was a major relief. She said it out loud and was like, oh, wow, that just happened. The result is someone else will be stepping into the role she had. And this person in this new role will sort of blossom herself, and she's excited. She's finally feels a purpose in the company. She'll be able to grow personally and professionally. And so by this one woman moving into her role, she'll grow and help the company grow. By this other woman taking over her spot, she will personally, because of her personality type, will just blossom. And then the other manager in the other department felt like they are probably more connected and will manage their respective teams similarly, which will help then, in turn, the whole company. They'll be able to meet with the owner and strategize, which has been the whole kind of thing we've been talking about anyways. How can we get the managers to stop doing, start leading, and take the company to the next level? So it's just, like I said, the clients are badass. I mean, they realize their badassness. They worked through some things, and it's just been an amazing, badass week to see all this happen. And, due to things like this, it's about where you are in life. Think about where you are, with your career, with your business. What obstacles are keeping you from moving forward? Last week I asked, what have you had to overcome or work through to achieve your goals, and what's kept you going? Sometimes I heard from one person say, it's just the success. Achieving that success was exciting enough to keep going. But maybe it's time for you to have a tough, honest conversation with yourself about what is really going on. Sometimes we can power through, but other times we need to stop, have that conversation. And it's amazing to think how one decision might help you, but also how it'll affect others as well in a positive way. You may not see it at first. Sometimes it's just kind of like ripping the Band-Aid off. You got to just do it. You got to just have that conversation. And sometimes it's easier to avoid it depending on your personality type because it's uncomfortable. You're not sure how the other person's going to take it. You're not sure if you're having that conversation with yourself. It might be torn a little bit. And that's if you're feeling like that, you need to call me or email me, sballard@growingforward.biz. Let's have that tough conversation. So if you're feeling stuck, unsure, stressed, definitely let's talk. But I want to hear from you. Email me, again, sballard@growingforward.biz, or post here. What's a tough conversation you've had, a big decision, a chance on you that you took? I want to hear about it. And if you haven't, and you know you need to, like I said, let's talk and let's work through it. Have a great week, everyone. Have a big, badass week, and I look forward to hearing from you. Cheers.